Podcast episode 1. My name is Random Montalvo, and yes, you might have recognized me from season 46 of CBS's Survivor. Shout out to everybody who watched Survivor. Dope show, best experience I've had pretty much in my entire life. Whew. And then OGs know me from my Instagram, r.rmonty. And for new people, what's going on? Hello. Set up a podcast simply because it gives me the ability to kind of have unscripted content and kind of talk to you guys about topics that I think are pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, this podcast can be about a variety of topics that I experience on my car journey, from politics to...
They can name it peaches.
All kind of mess. But there's going to be a limitation on how we do that.
Really, bro? What?
We're going to pick one topic, I'm going to rant on it, and then we'll have like some kind of a conclusion, and then we guys can kind of debate things in the comment section on multiple parts. My setup, super unorthodox, right? Wireless mics. I'm doing a very, very easy, low-cost setup because honestly, I don't make any money off this stuff. So this is just hobby, right? Until I make some money off this, y'all gonna get the budget.
I know a lot of broke people.
Let's dive into it. The Lexus LF-R, all right? Let me show you all of the content kind of we have on this new car from Lexus. Number one, right? And what you're gonna see is a lot of stuff going around a track, a lot of content of this car just going laps. It sounds very similar to the RCF GT3. Those are cut gears. That is definitely not a consumer car. That is a car that's gonna replace the most successful racing program that Lexus ever had, which is the RCF GT3 that's running in WEC and running in IMSA. And this car is an absolute beast. So the LF-R has a lot riding on it, and I think Lexus is definitely going to deliver. Now, the LF-R is a title. It's a program title, right? It's not the actual name of the car, right? But a lot is kind of confusing on where is this designation, right? If you look at the RCF and the LC, it looks like in other countries these cars are being discontinued. So we know that the naturally aspirated V8 chassis cars are gone, right? What we don't know is what is coming after for the F performance brand. Like full F cars. What you're seeing behind me is the last full F car. This is a car that's designed to be a hybrid car. Be a great GT car and also take to the track. It'll drive you home. It'll give you no problem. So it's time for what's coming up next, right? What's the next iteration of this car? Full F cars are pretty phenomenal cars. What struck me about this car is that its ability to take to a track, literally run the car through its paces, and drive it home in comfort. I mean, you put this thing in eco mode and it's like, it doesn't even sound like it has a V8 in it. It sounds like a regular Camry, to be honest with you. It makes no engine noise. It's just really, really cool how these F cars are designed, right? So the LF-R, we don't know if it's gonna be the next iteration of the RCF or the next iteration of the LC, right? We know that it's neither having the titles, right? So it's not gonna be called an LC and an RC, that we know of. We just don't know where it's gonna be in the larger scheme of things, right? We saw the rumored Koji Sato statement that the LFA2 is going to be the electric sport concept. That was on Supercar Blondie. That was promoted as the LFA successor. So what does that leave the LF-R? The LF-R cannot be the RC and the LC combined. If it is, and Lexus is going with like this 2-car concept where it's just the LF-R and the LFA2 being a full EV, I just hope that the LF-R is in the price point segment that the RCF is in. Guys, look, Lexus is not BMW. They don't have the ability to scale pricing in the same way because they sell less volume, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, why is an RCF track edition or Fuji edition $107,000? First of all, an RCF carbon edition, right? Thank God they removed the TVD. Never was a fan of the TVD. Lexus wasn't a fan either because they don't sell it no more. So the carbon editions were about $80,000, $89,000. You can easily rack up an RCF well almost $90,000 at one point. So the TE and the Fuji editions weren't that far off. You're talking about a $15,000, $12,000, depending on the model package. This car brand new was $102,000. I bought it for $86,000 used with very low mileage. I was literally going in for a M4 GTS, and I walked out with this car, and it is the best RCF I have ever driven. I was not a fan of the original RCFs, especially obviously the ones with the TVD. I've never been a fan of the TVD. And I didn't, and I waited. And then I talked to Mike Forsyth and everybody, shout out to you and other people. And I bought the car and I freaking love this car. It's so underrated. And shout out to all RCF owners in general, because they all push the car culture and they push the F brand forward. So what I like and what you like, we're all, is still pushing forward the culture. Lexus has to, and I'm telling you this right now, has to have a M4 competitor. That's what the RCF was. They need it, okay? If this car cannot be an M8, it can't be, you have an M8 and then you have a supercar, which is what the LFA2 is supposed to be. That car is definitely gonna be 200,000 plus. I can tell you that right now. That electric concept, sport concept, that is going to be a $200,000 plus car. I do not see that car being anywhere near affordable, okay? It's just so out there. And then they're talking about, transmissions, having the first transmission that they've been demoing on that SUV. It's going to be obviously more performance oriented, 1,000 horsepower. That car is going to be a supercar price point. My concern is the LF-R in terms of what the heck is coming out for the M4 segment. Does that mean that the LF-R is both of these cars? They have to be M4 price points. If not, then I think it's going to push Lexus too far up the pricing scheme. The market is just way more niche the further you go from 100,000 up, right? Think about how many LC500s you see. Do you see a lot of them? Not really, right? I don't. Bad enough you don't see much RCFs, but cars that are M8 pricing. Think of how many M3s and M4s you see versus M8s. Right? So you got to be careful on that, right? And you're not selling volume like BMW. So I just think Lexus has to be very careful. Now, the LF-R has some really cool stuff about it that we know that they learned from the RCF program. Number one, the RCF program was designed to be a sports GT, luxury GT first hybrid, and then they kind of trickled it down to being a race car. So it was designed to be a comfortable GT that you can take to the track and drive home. That was the whole thing about the RCF. And then they made it into a race car. GR got involved and they developed the RCF GT3, right? A whole bunch of committees. And so that was what they learned there. Unfortunately, that's not the best way to build a race car, right? So you have a hybrid chassis to lower cost by the chassis god himself, Yaguchi-san. He did the best he could. He made in my opinion, the perfect E92 M3 competitor. And this is, to me, a refined E92 series, to be honest with you. This is not a G series competitor. This is a E92 series competitor in my view. And I think that this is a better car than that. That's just my opinion. Next iteration of F, and it's just not clear. We don't know. I mean, they have done, and I'm going to say this out, Lexus, I'm a hyper fan of yours, but you guys have done some terrible marketing with teasing people on what's the next iteration for your F brand. This car right here, this is a fantastic platform, but it's very underrated because the type of marketing that's being done, I feel, is not what the audience wants, right? So when you came out with this version, you needed to increase power from the 2UR GSE. It needed to be 500 horsepower in this car, in this model specifically. I love it because I understand the point of the car. Unsprung weight, lighter, the best brakes money can buy. It saves me tons of money not buying aftermarket parts, and it's a phenomenal. I mean, Lexus Carbon is second to none. Do you see that hood? Do you see that forged hood? I mean, it's just beautiful. This has got to be a car that is going to take over the mantle from this, right? So it's got to be $65,000 to about $90,000, right? And then special editions can run north of that. If the LF-R can do that, I think we're good. We obviously know it's going to be a NA, like not a NA V8. It's going to be a hybrid V8, right? So that's the whole thing about this car, that it's going to be a hybrid V8 that's supposedly pushing around 700 horsepower, rumored. And then there's supposed to be different iterations of it that are going to spec higher. We don't know, right? We know that the electric sport concept is definitely going for 1,000 horsepower. They said 900 to 1,000 horsepower. So that is clearly going to be supercar price territory. But Lexus has to be very, very careful how they price this new F car. If it is not an M4 competitor and Lexus does not answer the call for the M4 segment, then we are in some serious problems, because there are just not enough people in that demographic to buy that car at volumes that matter. All right. I mean, look, it's just the reality of the market. So coupes are generally loss leaders, right? And car segments now these days, SUVs are all the rage. So it would help if Lexus started to kind of design their F cars a little bit more robustly. And here's what I mean by that. So you have the LF-R coming out, right? Why is there not an RXF? Why is there not like a wagon that's an F, right? Did you see this wagon F concept? This is absolutely gorgeous, okay? Missed opportunity. And there's no RXF. To call a RX 500H an F performance is just a bit rough, okay? Because you're not putting this thing against an X6M, all right? You're not putting it against an X5M, an X4M, an X3M, no M, okay? So I just think like the F performance brand is a little bit wonky when it comes down to, you know, its designation, right? An LC 500 is actually an F performance car. It's not labeled one, but it's a 500 series car, right? So it's the IS 500's counterpart, but it's a flagship car. But I think it fails is because it's slower than an IS 500 and slower than an RCF. So it's weird to have like a flagship car that's performance oriented be slower than your two other cars in other segments, right? BMW does not do this, right? You have an M4 and an M3, but it is not faster than an M8, you know, Grand Coupe or M8 competition, right? It's not. So Lexus, something really wonky happened there when it comes down to this marketing. And I believe that the ideas of Yaguchi-san were changed by committee or the leadership, and they didn't want their M alternate brand for some reason to flourish. I don't think they thought it was a good money. Instead, we're getting flooded with these GR cars from the Toyota market. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I love Lexus quality. I like their differentiator from their actual company, the Toyota. I have zero desire to buy a GR car like from Toyota. I understand they're the same company, but the GR cars don't impress me. They don't make me wow. I mean, I just looked at this concept where they show the GR Celica. I have zero interest in that. I have zero interest in a GR Supra. I don't care about the GR Corolla or a GR. I just don't. Or maybe if I needed a dedicated track car on a budget, I would buy like, you know, something like that, like a GR86. There's nothing Toyota GR that's inspiring me. I prefer the F cars. They're much more plush. The GTs are so refined. There's so much more that goes into Lexus performance cars. The LC500 is made in the same plant as the LFA, folks. The carbon fiber on this is made from the same loom as the LFA. I mean, it's crazy how much the brakes on this car are from the same series, the rotors as the LFA, not the exact same, but they're from the same series. It's just crazy how much effort they put into these, and Lexus, you know what I mean? They just really, really care about that whole Takumi thing, you know? So I don't have any need. Now, granted, I understand that GR developed the RCF GT3 program, 100%. There was I get it. But the focus on differentiating the Lexus product from the Toyota product, to me, is worth the money. I'd rather drive a RCF than drive anything GR. You know, and that's just, it's not knocking it. I mean, this is essentially Lexus's GR, right? But it's just, there's a difference in quality refinement that I enjoy. And Lexus just has an audacity to do things. They pay attention to things like the engine sound is louder than the exhaust in here. It's just, it's crazy. It just makes no sense. The seats are absolutely gorgeous. The build quality is nothing rattling in the car. You can take it to the track and run it as many times as you want. It will not overheat. No transmissions issues. The Aisin 8-speed is a workhorse. And yes, I do prefer it over the 10-speed any day of the week for track purposes. It reminds me of a single clutch. I love the first and second gear arrangement instead of the smooth 10-speed and overheating. Just not my thing. Anyway, so when it comes down to the LF-R, I'm very afraid of it because I don't understand where Lexus is doing with it. I think their marketing is a little bit lacking when it comes down to kind of promoting the F brands. We don't have teasers. There's no M-Town. There's no F-Town. here's a concept for Lexus, and I want Lexus to, like, if you're listening, Mike Forsyth or anything like that, you guys really should consider this. Look, take a group of your hyper fans, right? Like myself, Mike, obviously, a bunch of people that just really, really love this, right? Who put this stuff out on content. Fly them to Japan, right? To Fuji Speedway, and show them models that did not come out, that are F. Like, I know there's an LCF. There were prototypes of the LCF. I know that car exists. Show us cars that didn't make it. Maybe there was an RXF. Who knows, right? They were putting that 2UR GSC in anything. I mean, at one point, right? They put it in an IS 500 for Pete's sake, right? So I want to see, like, fly us out there and then show us the cars like BMW did that didn't come out, right? That was supposed to be F. Then, at the end of it, show us the new F cars wrapped up, but let us get test drives in them. And then I'll sign an NDA. I promise you I would. You guys, and then, but let us inform the public on what we saw and what we're allowed to say, right? Get us thrilled about the product. Because right now, there is nothing. It is so bad. I went into a dealership the other day, and I love Lexus dealerships, but they don't know what's going on with your racing program. And their racing program is the most, you are champions. You go into a Lexus, they're not doing nothing with the brand. I mean, these guys don't do nothing. Let me explain to you something, Lexus. You go to a Porsche dealership, right? They have racing meets at the dealerships. They give them food and stuff, and they watch Porsche race. I mean, it's crazy. And these people become lifelong Porsche buyers. You go to Lexus, they want to show you an RX. I mean, or an RZ if they can get you one on a lease. What is going on, right? Get people invested in this car, because I understand that the average demographic for an LC500 is probably 50 years old, you know, or closer to 50, or a late 40-year-old man. But you got to get people involved in the culture of the car. The RCFs, you lost out an opportunity, I feel like, on this car. This car should have been more marketed at, like BMW did with the M4, you know? And I just don't understand Lexus. Why aren't the dealerships capitalizing on the successes of the racing brand? I just don't get it. They have limited marketing collateral at the dealerships, I notice, but there's no real push. There's no display that shows the RCF Track Edition or the Fujis winning champions. It's just, they had a campaign when they went to dealerships, I remember, and put on this grid display. I thought that was dope. That was sick. If Mike Forsyth, if that was you or whoever the PR person was at that point, that was dope. But the dealerships really are disconnected from the racing program success. And they're not continuing the hype. You have to get, you know, people hype. People are wanting to buy into this performance brand. And if you want to get people to stop buying used, you have to get them hype. You have to differentiate the product and create and capitalize on that buzz. And the LF-R, I don't think like it's really answering the call. Lexus really, they showcased the car as the GR, right? It was GR titled as a Toyota. Lexus probably figured out that, you know, we need it as a Lexus. You know what I mean? It's going to be, that's the segment I think that really defines their brand. I love Lexus design. It is just so unique and more inspiring than the Toyota design. I understand same company, but there are levels. And I'm really concerned about what comes in the M4 segment in the F brand. And the LF-R, I'm concerned that it's just not good marketing right now. There's no teaser about it. Consider what we're saying, Lexus. Consider flying some of us hyper fans out to Fuji Speedway. Show us these really cool projects. Let us vlog. Get people hyped, like, you know, when Chevy did with the Corvette, they flew people out, they showed people the product, they got people excited. BMW showed models of M cars that did not release. I know Lexus has that in the F brand series, because after, you know, during GR and the whole, you know, committees that were developed, that were trying to come out with these cars and more F performance cars, I guarantee you there are prototypes like the LCF, etc., that exist. They just in a garage somewhere hidden, you know. Let us take that off, rip that Band-Aid off, you know, get people excited in the brand. There's one car that I don't understand, and the LF-R, I get it. It is a GT3 car right now that's going to replace the RCF. That's definitely not the consumer product, so we're waiting for that. Supposedly 2025. Capstone that. Lexus then comes out with a Akio Toyota saying that the LBX is like the best car he's ever driven. Let me tell you something, all right? Maybe Lexus, he prefers driving, but he's also driven a LFA, my favorite car of all time. My goal with my car journey is to get an LFA, same color scheme as this RCF Fuji Speedway Edition. White, carbon fiber, I'm done. I don't need any more cars after that. That is the goal, right? I am literally working my butt off to try to buy that car as my goal. I've always wanted one. This is the closest I'm gonna get to one right now, you know, in terms of Lexus, and that's my goal, man. I got a long way to go. But you got to get people involved better than saying that in your brand, your performance brand. I don't know anybody who asked for an LBX, and I respect Akio Toyota. Obviously, it's, you know, his company, but I have no. It was like one of the. It looks like a UX that just became curved. I don't like it. I don't understand who asked for this. And then you have like people on social media talking about, oh, this should be an F car in the US. Dude, if that car comes out in the US, it's gonna bomb. Okay, I told people the RZ is gonna bomb because of the charging speed and the price point I thought they were gonna put that car at, and the RZ is not doing well. They need to increase range and change that charging speed on that. Horrific. LBX will tank in the US. Nobody wants a $70,000 hatchback that is literally a GR. What is it? I think it's a GR. Is it a GR? It's not a GR Corolla. It's a GR Yaris. No. It's one of the GR cars, right? But it's just not, nobody, like, that's not what people want. People want M4, M8 cars from Lexus that are performance oriented, that look the bill, that look the, you know what I mean? We want an RXF, man. Who the hell wants to be an LBX? I was like, when you got this guy talking about the Morizo Edition R, man, if you don't put that back in the closet, ain't nobody asked for that car. Please don't bring that to the US. You don't need no more sales negatives. Leave that car away from the US. Maybe in the UK, because they like small cars over there. Don't bring that car to the US, please. Nobody wants an LBX. Lexus had a hot hatch that I thought would have been a great F car, right? If you just put the motor in there and you focus it. CT200H F Sport. You could have made a CTF. You could have put a V8 in this thing and make it a hot hatch. I mean, it's already lowered to all hell. It would have been great. Imagine this thing being a hot hatch with a V8 and a 2UR in it. It would have been great. But Lexus no CTF, no RXF. They don't capitalize on it. They didn't even come up with a new ISF. And IS500 is not an ISF. All right, it needs a lot of thousands of dollars to become one. It's a cool car though. But, you know, it's just not, I just don't understand Lexus's point with the LF-R and what they're trying to achieve. And there's the fact that there's like zero marketing on it. There's zero teasers. You have fans, Lexus. I've been to your hospitality. It's phenomenal. But where is the outreach to the fans of the brand? Okay, you got to cater to more than golf clubs. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just got to be. I mean, we love your cars, but you have got to, you know, come up with some content. I look at the Discover Lexus and stuff, and I'm looking at all their content, and it's like, you know, doing art in the woods and bamboo and then going to fine dining. I get all that. That's phenomenal. But at the end of the day, you have the F brand. Full F cars is what we want. Deliver. The LF-R, we'll see what it comes out with, but you have got to come up with an M4 competitor and an M8 competitor. That's what it's about. That's what you entered. That's what, you know, in my opinion, the Gucci-san was heading in that direction. These are like the first, these are what, second generation F cars? You know, we just need more information from Lexus, and they need to come up with an F-Town or something, because right now it's like Boys to Men when the water runs dry. So anyway, that was my rant on the LF-R and the Lexus F brand in terms of promotion for the LF-R and what's coming up. And although I am almost certain that the Vasser Sullivan team is testing that LF-R as the successor to the RCF GT3, I don't think they're doing a good job of getting their audience and buyers hyped about it. I think people are just more excited about the RX 450h Plus being a plug-in hybrid and getting 37 miles, right? Like that to me is getting more promotion than their racing cars. Like what the, I don't understand. I understand that that's the highest selling product from Lexus is the RXs, but we're here. We bought the cars. We have them. You know, we want to buy new, offer some good rates. You know what I mean, and get us hyped about the next iteration of F cars, because you know you don't want to go back to where you were, right? You want to kind of continue going forward, right? The whole Kaizen mentality, right? So that's how I feel. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. Anyway, that's episode 1 for the podcast. Peace and love, and I'll catch you on the next one.